Hello everyone, this is Ohtan Wang. I'm a professor of biology at NYU Abu Dhabi, and this is Autocomplete Science Series CGSB edition. Okay, so we got questions. The first one. Do brain cells die? Yes, they do. But fortunately, they also regenerate. So by the time we turn to 50, all the neurons in our brain have at least gone one turnover. So they're all different from the ones that we are born with to keep our brain fresh. So good news. Does brain size matter? Good question. It does and doesn't. So the recent human generations have expanded our cortex through evolution. And as the result, our forebrain has become larger and larger in size and mass. And this is what we have gained, through the process of evolution. On the other hand, if we acknowledge ourselves as the most intelligent species on the earth, it's obvious we don't have the largest brains. Whales, elephants, and dolphins all have larger brains than us, and they are definitely intelligent. But are they more intelligent than us? Possibly not. Does the brain sleep when we sleep? Nah, the brain doesn't sleep. When we're sleeping, our heart is beating, we're breathing, and our brain is at work. I actually teach a core course here at NYU Abu Dhabi, which is called 24 Hours in Our Brain. So our brain is at work around the clock. But the brain does work a bit differently when we are asleep. The neurons communicate in a different mode, in slightly different way. So when we are asleep, the brain has to sort out the sensory information that we have received during the day and consolidate the important ones into long-term changes, biochemical changes, structural changes, and functional changes, and let the rest release so we don't accumulate. So, as we sleep, actually, the brain is also in a repair mode, right? So it has to get rid of the toxins that have built up during the day, repair the cells, repair the connections, and so we can have good rest and get ready for the next day. So the brain is busy when we are asleep. How do neurons work? Neurons work by connecting and transmitting signals between each other. Sometimes to their neighbor neurons, sometimes to neurons that are very, very far away. And the way they communicate with each other is through the electrical signals and also chemical signals. And so no neurons work in an isolated condition. It doesn't work that way. And our brain is designed to have the architecture that facilitates their communication. So yeah, I think that's how neurons work. Okay, next. Are neurons only in the brain? No, they're not only in the brain. You'll find the motor neurons in our spinal cord. You will find vagal neurons that connect the peripheral organs with our brain. You'll also find neurons in the peripheral organs. For example, we have done experiments that show us that if you stimulate the enteric neurons, these are the neurons that are in clusters inside the intestinal wall. By stimulating these neurons, you can actually stimulate brain activity, which connect to the brown fat tissue to boost metabolism to burn fat. So yes, you can find neurons outside of the brain, definitely. Can neurons repair themselves? The current consensus is the peripheral neurons can repair themselves, and the neurons in the central nervous system do not repair themselves. But I'm not sure whether this is going to be continuously to be true. And the reason for that is that it's possible that we just haven't found the right conditions and the right context. Maybe with some help with medical advances, with technology advances, it's possible that neurons can repair themselves, just like they did when they were in the developing brain. So I think the answer is probably they can. We just haven't found the right condition. What do neuroscientists do? Well, neuroscientists try to understand the makings and the workings of the nervous system. And this includes central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, at all levels, from molecules to cells, to the connections, to the way they communicate, all the way to behavior. How do you become a neuroscientist? Easy. I was curious about the brain, and I was curious about many questions that I believe neuroscience is the best approach to address. On top of that, I have been lucky with good mentors. So my mentors have been fantastic neuroscientists and also molecular biologists. And I think they have helped me create this neuroscientist that I believe I am today. Explain neuroscientist in 3 words. Let me think. That's 3 words, but I'll give you another set. Fun, ambitious, hardworking. What inspired you to become a neuroscientist? The brain. I mean, everything, the people I met, books, my family, my experience. It just new questions keep coming, you know, and I think neuroscience is just everywhere. And now my colleagues, yeah, I shouldn't forget to mention my colleagues and the students here at NYU Abu Dhabi. They are my inspiration. It's a very exciting place to be a neuroscientist. It's stimulating and collaborative. And I think for neuroscientists, these are really important things. What's your research objectives? Well, I'm hoping through my research that I will be able to understand how our daily experience is connected to the gene expression in the brain. So that when we grow, when our brain develops, it develops together with our experience. Our experience becomes part of its development, becomes part of our brain. And to do this, my team has been focusing on the molecules, a class of molecules of RNAs. And these are different from DNA molecules. The RNA molecules transfer information from DNA into cell functions. And RNA molecules can interpret the DNA information in many different ways. So you can think RNA molecules as interpreters. So the way they interpret the DNA information can also be impacted by our daily experience. And that's why we care about the RNA molecule regulation in the brain, and we're keen to understand the mechanism. So, yes. Last question. What's the impact of your research on the community? Well, I would say the impact, the knowledge we will be able to gain from our research is the mechanism of how our surroundings, how our environment, how our community can make long-lasting impact on our brain health, our mental health. So by understanding the mechanisms, we can better understand ourselves, how behaviors are generated, how factors such as having friends, aging, diets affect the brain function and the structures, how puberty, marriage, pregnancy, menopause affect a female's brain. And I think by gaining the knowledge, that we can understand how we work, how the brain works in our bodies through the experience. And by having this knowledge, we can understand how to better build the society so we can be healthier as individuals, but also as society. So I think that would be the impact of my research. Thank you very much. I'm done.